Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Sorry I have not been releasing too many of these videos. I've been doing other videos like Daisy and Miscreated and streaming and stuff like that, and I haven't really done a whole lot on this. So I'm going to try to get back into this a little more. I just needed a little break from it. There wasn't a whole lot of new stuff anyways, but in this one I'm going to go over some comments that people have been leaving. The main one being other trap setups, like being all tier 4s or being all tier 3s or doing a health trap or something like that. I'm just going to go over a couple of those, and hopefully this will answer your questions, guys. First off, I am just going to start tier 4s and tier 3s. If you are going to use those, and only those, like use tier 3s as meats, you don't need tier 4s if you're going to use tier 3s, so tier 4s would just be a waste of power unless you're going to fill a rally or something, because tier 3s do not have a nerf as of right now. Also, tier 3s and tier 4s react a little bit differently in a hit. Because tier 3s and tier 4s add a little bit more power, like 24 each on a tier 3 and then 36 each on a tier 4. You cannot have massive amounts of them and still be smaller in power. So you are going to have a lower troop count if you use tier 3s or tier 4s. And because you're going to have a lower troop count, defense is not going to be the most beneficial stat that you need. The reason defense works so well is because tier 2s work really great with defense because you have to have quite a bit of them. You have to have them really stacked up. You got to have a lot of them. But tier 3s and tier 4s, because of the power, you have to keep them a little bit lower in count, and that forces you to want to use other stats instead. Now, the main stat would be health, because tier 3s and tier 4s work really well with health. Kind of like how tier 2 works well with defense. That's what the tier 3s and tier 4s like. They like health, they like attack, and they like some debuffs in there. So, really the best gear you would use on a tier 3 or tier 4 setup would be cores. I mean, you can set up set gear to use that, especially the new Pegasus gear, or maybe Colossus. It is split though, but Colossus might work out, yeah. But Pegasus for sure would work really well because you can get that well over 4,000% health, and that's great. But cores would be the best choice for a tier 3 or tier 4 setup, which would make it a little bit more expensive beyond having to build quite a bit of tier 4s and stuff, which is a little bit expensive. Depends how much you are planning on spending. So really, a tier 3 or tier 4 setup could be called a health trap, and I'm going to get into that a little bit. If you guys have heard about these health traps lately, there's been quite a bit of them. They've been going over to health because you can stay pretty small and be able to take some heroes. Majority of health traps are solo traps that are able to survive some rallies. Now, if they do it as a rally trap, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It really depends how much money they put into it, but usually it doesn't turn out as well. And that's because it takes a little bit more money to actually set up a health trap, and all you are really doing is doing the opposite of what we're doing here. Instead of boosting defense super high, you're going to go for health, and which for health you're going to want all hospitals, obviously all hospitals, You're going to boost them towards health. You're going to do your skill tree towards health, which will be a little bit different. You're just going down through doing health 1, health 2, alter health bonus, and then I think there's the individuals maybe if you're using the Colossus, but if you're using the Pegasus it would probably just get debuffed if you did the individuals. And then there's one on down the line at like 66, which would add a lot of power, but it is down there. But yeah, you're just stacking up health on a health trap. And if you guys are seeing health traps that are like 3 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion power, if they are that low, they put a lot into that city. They have a lot of the bigger health gems. They have like 24 buildings, like 24 hospitals and 24 watchtower and all that. And that is the only reason they can actually stay that small. To do this without having the upgraded buildings, you will of course have to be a little bit bigger. Around the 10 billion range maybe. Because when they get that watchtower 24, they cut out a lot of the attack. Which when you are going health, attack is going to affect you the most. Attack cuts straight through the health. And when they get that watchtower 24, that just takes away 85% of their troop attack. So that helps a massive amount and allows them to be quite a bit smaller. And then they have all the hospitals, which I think give 10% health at level 21 and then 1% for each level. I might be wrong on that, but it's going to be about the same as a barrack. But they got a bunch of them, and that's like 200% more health. And then they've got the gems, which I think there's 135% gem, 25% gem, and then I forget the other two, but there's other health gems in there. And that's all you're really doing for a health trap, is just stacking up health. Now that is going to work great for a while. Again, it's a little bit more expensive to actually set it up and do extremely well. You can set them up cheaper and do okay, but to do it extremely well and be able to make tons and tons of points, you have to spend a little bit more, which you'll have to do that in any setup. But health traps, you do have to spend quite a bit to set it up originally and be able to do that very, very, very well. As far as research on a health trap, really all they would need would be combat, maybe restorative. I think this does healing speed. No, that don't even do healing speed. So that you don't need restorative unless you're going to make building the troops a little cheaper. But after you build them, because your hospital capacity is going to be so high, and if you shield on time, you will be able to rebuild and never lose a troop. But you still have to use speeds and resources to heal the troops. So it's not free. It's not like you don't got to pay something to heal them. But as far as research goes, defense tree and combat's really about all there is. You got hospital capacity, of course, to make it have a higher healing capacity and hold a little more troops. And it'll give you all these resistances. That's really about it, guys. That's the bare minimum for a health trap. But there is other researches that will help, but again, make you a little bit bigger. And which, if you're not going to put all that much into it, these other researches might be what you want. It'll help you out a little bit. First off being crafting. That would allow you to build cores, also get you that 4th gem slot, which is a ton of extra health or more defense. I mean, not defense. It could hide your gear or give you more health. There's a couple options you could do there. but more health being the main thing. March Tree might, yeah, it gives you some health, but that's not really something you would really need to go for. That would be optional. And then set bonus, of course, since we, as this setup, do not wear full sets of gear. A health trap would be wearing like full set of Pegasus for the best results, because Pegasus gives so much health. And then there's a couple other sets that give quite a bit of health, and they could use that. But we don't use full sets of health, we use mixed gear. So set bonus is completely useless. But for a health trap, it would be beneficial if they were going to use full sets of Pegasus or something like that. So if they wanted to do this to be a little bit more effective, they could do that, and it would help them out a little bit. And that if you are not going to spend as much on the buildings, that would probably save you a little bit of effort to do that and eat it a little bit easier, because your Pegasus would be stronger. But that Watchtower 24 will help massively, because attack is your biggest concern. It's going to go straight through that health. So you need to stack as much health and as much attack debuff as possible. That's going to be your two main things. But you don't want to make your gems go for that. You want your gems to go for the health. So don't stack health attack debuff thinking it's going to work. Okay, now the downside to a health trap. Beyond it being a little bit more expensive to set up a very, very successful one instead of just one that kind of works cheaply, is health debuff. Now right now the cores have like 2000% health debuff ungemmed, and that's quite a bit. It's not really anything to worry about. When they gem it, it's going to be like 2500, something like that at max. And then you got custom sets that have more than that, and it's not really a big deal. The bad part about that, the moment MZ releases a new set for health debuff that has well into 4000 range of health debuff, that will probably be the end of a health trap. So if you were planning on building one, know that's coming eventually. And there is no kunai to resist health debuff. So that is coming, and I don't think there will be a kunai to save them from that. So unless they release some special gear with tons and tons and tons of health, and it's just enough to overpower the massive health debuff set that they release eventually, there's really no point in building a health trap. I mean, you could do it and have some fun for right now, but when they release that, that's going to make it very hard on them to cap in regular gear. They're going to have to build cores like Lady Justice or Hera or something like that with tons and tons of health. So just note that's coming for health traps, guys, and be warned about that, and hopefully you guys can find a way around that if you are in fact set up as a health trap. Now currently I do not have one set up for myself, so I'm just going over it, looking at this city. I might have got a few things off on how they're actually set up. So if I was wrong on any of this, guys, and you are a health trap, just leave a comment and let everybody know that they should go a different direction with it. I try to cover it as best as I can, as much as I know about how to actually set one of those up. And they are very effective traps, guys. It's just that health debuff set that will be coming out eventually. There is no kunai to help them, which is what is saving us from defense debuff. Which defense debuff can get nearly 5,000 now at max. Nearly. It's well into 4,000s, but it's not 5,000 yet. But when they release a health set like that, that does get that high, there is no kunai to save them on that part. So they will have to pretty much grow as big as us or core. That will be up to them. They're going to need quite a bit of extra troops to take the hit, or they're going to need some very non-economy friendly cores. So that's up to them, and up to you guys if you plan on building a health trap. So hopefully I covered that well enough. I tried to. I might have got a few things mixed up, but I don't have one to look at and kind of tell you this is what's this and go here and do that. So I'm just doing it off the top of my head. So don't get mad if I mixed anything up. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. And try to make these a little bit more frequent. Again, I did take a little break from Game of War the past few days and haven't really been on a whole lot. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next.